Thunderstorm rolls across the empty desert of southeastern New Mexico. But on this particular night, something else appeared in the sky. The next morning, a rancher named Mac Brazel rode out across his land. Brazel managed a large sheep ranch roughly 75 miles north of Roswell. The area was remote and quiet. The land stretched endlessly across dry desert plains dotted with low brush and scattered rocks. As Brazel rode across one of his pastures, he began noticing something strange. The ground was covered with debris, not just a few pieces. Hundreds of fragments were scattered across a wide area of land. At first glance, the material looked like ordinary trash that might have blown in during the storm. But when Brazel stopped to examine the pieces more closely, he realized something was unusual. Some of the debris looked like metallic foil, but it behaved strangely. When Brazel tried to bend it, the material immediately snapped back to its original shape. Other pieces looked like small beams or sticks made of extremely lightweight material, and on some of those pieces were strange markings, symbols that Brazel did not recognize. He'd spent years working on ranch land and had seen plenty of debris carried by storms, but this was different. Unsure what he had found, Brazel collected several pieces of the material and decided to report it. That decision would soon attract the eyes of someone he wouldn't want to deal with.
Mighty demonstration is featured by distinguished personalities and masses of manpower. New York at war, and Annapolis midshipmen march to represent the fleet. That float represents Latin America.
The United States' military was the ultimate victor of the Second World War. The US won on all fronts. It was forced to fight during the war. They won in Europe. They won in Asia. It was the first and only power at the time. And needless to say, it had its secrets. The nuclear bomb, a force of utter destruction, leaving nothing behind it, and supposedly the best place to observe the phenomenon. But that story is for another video. While the Cold War began immediately after World War II, 1947 marked a formal shift in American policy, specifically with the Truman Doctrine and the creation of the CIA, which directly fueled an active covert battle to steal military, technological, and political secrets. And unknowingly, Mac Brazel was smacked right in the middle of it. Within days, officers from the nearby Roswell Army Airfield arrived to investigate the debris field. This was no ordinary military base. Roswell was home to the 509th Bomb Group, the highly classified unit responsible for deploying the atomic bombs at the end of World War II. In other words, the officers stationed here were part of one of the most elite and secretive military units in the world. After examining the debris Brazel had discovered, military personnel collected large amounts of the material and transported it back to the base. At first, the discovery didn't seem like it would attract much attention, but then something unexpected happened. On July 8th, 1947, the Roswell Army Airfield issued a press release. The statement said that the military had recovered a flying disc from a ranch outside Roswell. The words spread quickly through newspapers and radio stations across the country. Headlines began appearing with shocking claims. For a brief moment, people across America believed that something extraordinary had been found in the New Mexico desert. But the excitement would not last long, because only hours later, the story changed. Later that same day, Brigadier General Roger Ramey held a press conference in Fort Worth, Texas. Standing beside the debris that had been recovered, Ramey offered a completely different explanation. There had been no flying disc, he said. Instead, the debris came from a simple weather balloon. Photographs released to the press showed pieces of rubber, foil, and wooden sticks scattered across the floor of Ramey's office. To the public, the explanation seemed straightforward. Weather balloons were commonly used to collect atmospheric data, and sometimes they crashed. Case closed, or at least that's what the military said. But over the years, people began questioning whether the explanation made sense, because some of the witnesses involved in the original event remembered things very differently. Decades after the incident, new testimonies began emerging. Some witnesses claimed the debris field had been far larger than the military had described. Others said the materials they saw behaved in ways that ordinary metals simply could not. One of the most controversial claims involved reports of a second crash site. According to several accounts that surfaced years later, some individuals claimed that small bodies had been recovered near the wreckage. These alleged bodies were described as being smaller than humans, with unusual proportions. However, these claims did not appear in the original reports from 1947. Most of them surfaced decades later, making it difficult for investigators to verify their accuracy. Still, the growing number of strange testimonies helped transform the Roswell incident into something far bigger than a simple crash. For many people, Roswell became the center of a much larger mystery. Over time, several theories emerged attempting to explain what really happened. The most famous theory suggests that Roswell was the crash site of an extraterrestrial spacecraft. According to this idea, the United States government quickly covered up the discovery to prevent public panic and to secretly study alien technology. Supporters of this theory often point to the military's sudden reversal, from announcing a flying disc to claiming it was a weather balloon, as evidence that something was being hidden. But there is another explanation, one rooted not in alien technology, but in Cold War secrecy. During the late 1940s, the United States was developing classified surveillance programs designed to detect Soviet nuclear tests. One such program was known as Project Mogul. This project involved launching large arrays of high-altitude balloons equipped with microphones and sensors capable of detecting sound waves from nuclear explosions thousands of miles away. These balloon systems were highly unusual in design. They used long structural beams, reflective materials, and experimental equipment. To someone unfamiliar with the technology, the wreckage could have appeared very strange. And because Project Mogul was classified at the time, the military may not have been able to publicly explain what the debris really was. In the 1990s, the US government released official reports addressing the Roswell incident. These reports concluded that the debris discovered by Mac Brazel most likely came from Project Mogul balloon arrays. According to investigators, the unusual materials described by witnesses could be explained by the experimental construction methods used in these early Cold War surveillance systems. Nearly 80 years later, the Roswell incident continues to spark debate. Some people are convinced that the government concealed the discovery of alien technology. Others believe the entire mystery can be explained through classified military research and the passage of time. The truth may lie somewhere in between. What we know for certain is this. On a stormy night in July of 1947, something fell from the sky over the New Mexico desert. A rancher found strange debris scattered across his land. The military arrived quickly, and for a brief moment the world was told that a flying disc had been recovered. Whether that announcement was a mistake, a misunderstanding, or something more deliberate, remains a question that continues to fascinate people even today. Because sometimes, the most intriguing mysteries are not the ones we solve. They are the ones that leave us wondering, what really happened that night in Roswell? If you enjoy exploring mysteries like this one, hidden history, unexplained events, and stories that challenge what we think we know, consider subscribing. Because in the next episode, we'll investigate another case where eyewitness reports, scientific explanations, and unanswered questions collide. Until then, keep questioning the unknown